When it comes to gaming laptops, there's no denying that Razer is somewhere at the top. The Blade series of gaming laptops are still, to this day, the only ones to offer both performance and minimalistic aesthetic. And just recently, Razer refreshed their Blade 14 with brand spanking new hardware, which puts them back in line against their direct competition. So, how does it fare? Well, I'm pretty impressed to be honest. Razer has finally managed to hit that sweet spot where that premium price is simply because you're paying for the form factor and design. The performance is going to be comparable and it wouldn't disappoint you. Now, for a start, don't get me wrong. The Blade 14 is still a premium gaming laptop and it will cost you quite a bit more, especially when you compare spec to spec against a direct competitor such as the Asus Zephyrus G14. The Blade 14 that we have on hand sports the AMD Ryzen 9 7940HS, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 laptop GPU, 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and 1TB of PCIe Gen 4 SSD storage. This particular configuration will set you back roughly $2,700 US or 4,400 Singapore dollars. The Zephyrus G14 with the exact same specifications will set you back just about 1,850 US dollars. And if you choose the higher end RTX 4080 SKU, that will still cost you just a little less at 2,500 US dollars. If you're considering a Blade 14 in the first place, you probably already know that. Now, a lot of you might argue that it's totally not worth it, and we get it. But yet, there's still quite a number of people out there who are willing to pay the premium for a Razer Blade. So let's talk about why that might be so. First and foremost, it's a lot to do with the design and form factor. Honestly, gone are the days where gamers just want performance and just performance with their gaming laptops. Nowadays, many of us consumers appreciate a well thought out design that appeals with a modern aesthetic, and the Blade 14 literally stands out among the crowd. It's a full aluminum chassis that feels properly solid and looks good no matter how you slice it. It does however come in just a tad bigger compared to the previous generation due to the move from a standard 16:9 panel to a 16:10 panel, but Blade 14 is still one of the most compact gaming laptops within the 14-inch category. You can easily slip it in any backpack without any issues whatsoever. Thanks to NVIDIA, gaming laptops are also getting slightly heavier across the board, which means the Blade 14 comes in at about 1.84 kilograms or 4.05 pounds, which isn't too heavy, thankfully, though perhaps still something of note for those of you who prioritize mobility. To finish up the chassis, you do have a light up Razer logo on the lid and plenty of ports for all your needs. We are talking 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, 2 USB 4 Type-C port, a single HDMI 2.1, a 3.5mm headphone mic combo jack, and a proprietary Razer power connector. Overall, it's just a really clean design that somehow no other brands are kind of pursuing. Some brands are getting close, sure, but Razer is the only one we would say that is on par with the MacBooks from Apple. And that is a huge reason why some people just want a Razer Blade and are willing to pay the premium for it. It's that sense of satisfaction from owning and using a product that really looks good and feels good. Now, that feeling extends to the keyboard and touchpad as well. For a start, the keyboard is fantastic, at least in my opinion. It's got a perfect balance between regular typing and gaming, and every actuation is satisfying. Not to mention, you have perky Chroma RGB which completes the look. The touchpad in particular, however, is arguably one of the best within the Windows camp. Firstly, it's large, extremely large, and secondly, your finger glides smoothly across the glass surface. No qualms about it, and it's definitely my second favorite touchpad right after ones from Apple. So that's saying quite a lot. The speakers, however, definitely could use a little bit of tuning. It's not bad, but definitely nowhere near the Blade 18, that's for sure. You do still get a 1080p webcam and it works fine with good microphones and all, so no worries on that front. But now, let's talk about the biggest upgrade when it comes to the new Blade 14, and that's the display. As mentioned, Razer is now using a 16:10 panel and it's a nice welcome especially for the 14-inch form factor. It's also kind of interesting to note that there's no longer a 1080p option when it comes to the panel choice. The two SKUs that's currently available will come equipped with an IPS panel that sports a resolution of 2560 by 1600, a refresh rate of 240Hz, covers 100% DCI-P3, gets up to about 400 nits in brightness, and also support FreeSync Premium. All in all, it's a great display that's especially awesome for gaming. Fast-paced shooters like Modern Warfare 2 feel really great to play, and RPGs like Cyberpunk 2077 feel alive thanks to the vibrant and rich colors. Of course, that will also mean that general content consumption and usage of the laptop is going to be great as well. So now let's get into the heart of things and let's talk about the gaming experience. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the benchmarks. So you have seen it, and honestly, it performs great, be it for creative work or for gaming. In fact, if you actually compare the performance of the Blade 14 against the Strix G18 with the same RTX 4070 laptop GPU that we reviewed before, the numbers are downright similar. But yet, the Strix G18 has a much larger and thicker chassis, whereas the Blade 14 is basically just this. But technically, you can also get slightly better performance should you choose to run this CPU on the boost setting, but you'll suggest to refrain from doing so in favor of better temperatures. Speaking of which, if you were to set the CPU and GPU to the high setting, temperatures are well under control, with the CPU averaging about 85 degrees Celsius and the GPU averaging around 80 degrees Celsius during gaming load. Fan noise will be audible, that's for sure, but it's within reason. And honestly, it's a gaming laptop. None of them is ever going to be silent. Oh yes, before we forget, battery life. Compared to the previous Blade 14, this does get a slight upgrade in capacity. Previously, it was a 61.6 Wh, now you get a 68.1 Wh. In reality, however, there isn't much different in terms of the actual usage. You'll still get around 6 to 7 hours at best on a light load. So, the Blade 14 is still a mightily impressive gaming laptop, and we definitely love every aspect of it. To top it off, you're getting quite a big leap in upgrades with the newer chassis and whatnot. After using it for quite some time, it really did give us that satisfaction from using such a premium-oriented gaming laptop. Now again, that factor might not apply to you or perhaps the majority of you. But for those of you who know that you want a Razer Blade and you want to be happy with what you have for perhaps the next 3 to 4 years of your life, the Blade 14 is indeed a compact powerhouse. And it's simply impressive. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and be sure to take a look at it and answer you as fast as we can. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to us for more of such content, and follow us on all our other social channels for the latest updates. And we'll see you in the next one. See ya!